Sandra Bullock is one of the few beautiful actresses in Hollywood who, despite their beauty and banging body, has managed to keep their image clean throughout their illustrious career. And in the case of Sandra, it's mostly due to the way she views sex. Why exactly does she always make sexual intercourse look funny in her movies? We'll dissect it in this video, but to get to that, we need to first go through some of the insane lineup of flings and hookups she went through. To sum up Sandra Bullock's past relationships, let's just say that she assembled an all-star team. Most of these were brief flings, but they were with some of the most handsome men in Hollywood. The others were strong relationships with very dark twists and turns. From 1990 to 1995, Sandra Bullock and Tate Donovan were an item. They met while filming the movie Love Potion No. 9. The environment was perfect for them to fall in love, so of course they did. They even made plans to get married. Unfortunately, right as the wedding approached, they called things off. Though details on what happened are scarce, Sandra has hinted that they ended on bad terms. In her own words, "I can't explain why things worked out the way they did. We both know why it happened." Donovan has remained tight-lipped on the matter as well. There was one major silver lining to this relationship, though. Donovan, who dated Jennifer Aniston, introduced Sandra to her. This started one of the most iconic friendships in modern Hollywood history. Sandra has even quipped that Donovan had a lot of patience for being able to handle both of them. But after that, it's pretty much an open secret that Sandra dated football star Troy Aikman after her split from Donovan. Not a bad way to bounce back, right? Sandra enjoyed her time with this Greek god of a man so much that in 2014, after her high-profile divorce, she ran back to his arms. One of the best things about Sandra is that she never thought anyone was beneath her in life as well as in love. This is best demonstrated by her unconfirmed relationship with a random film technician known as Don Padilla. Sandra, being Sandra, tried to keep the whole thing low-key, but who exactly did she think she was fooling? One major giveaway of their relationship was when they showed up together to the premiere of Sandra's movie, The Net. Sandra always loves to have a hot man by her side, and Don definitely fits the bill. After dating for 1 year, though, things between them got strained. At the time of their breakup, Sandra was making a movie with a very hot upcoming actor known as A Time to Kill. But before that, from 1996 to 1998, Sandra Bullock was in a relationship with Matthew McConaughey. At the time, he was one of Hollywood's most desirable men. Both Sandra and Matthew constantly denied that they were dating, even though literally everyone knew. It was only after it ended that Sandra reflected on their time together. According to her, they left things on good terms, so much so that they remained lifelong friends afterward. Their friendship was so strong that Sandra even befriended Camila Alves, Matthew's wife. This pattern of staying friends with her exes repeated itself in yet another one of Sandra's relationships. As Sandra got on in years, the urge to settle down grew in her. However, she still had room for a few more flings. One of them was with country singer Bob Schneider. The other was with Hollywood's most charming man, Ryan Gosling. Again, Sandra and Ryan tried to keep their relationship secret. However, they just couldn't shut up about how much they liked each other. While Sandra managed to be more low-key by saying that they weren't just friends, Ryan straight up blurted out that Sandra was one of the greatest girlfriends ever. Strong praise coming from Ryan, but it was time for Sandra to find out what she was like as a wife. Sandra's most infamous relationship was with motorcycle builder and Monster Garage host Jesse James. The two of them met when Sandra set up her 10-year-old godson to meet him, as he was a huge fan. Being totally Sandra's type, Jesse soon got married to her. So began the longest and most turbulent relationship of Sandra's life. At the start, Sandra was so in love with Jesse that she used her army of lawyers to help him win custody of his daughter from his adult movie star ex-wife, Janine Lindemulder. This drew some controversy, as people wondered if it was right for her to take a child away from her mother. In any case, Sandra shrugged off the criticism, excited to start a family with Jesse. Unfortunately, disgrace lay right around the corner. While promoting her Oscar-winning movie, The Blind Side, Sandra was completely blindsided by several reports that emerged from women claiming to have slept with Jesse while the two of them were married. Sandra was so distraught that she canceled the rest of her public appearances. After issuing a public non-apology, James begged for Sandra's forgiveness and then checked himself into a rehab facility to deal with some issues. Unfortunately, this strategy didn't work for him. After 5 years of marriage, Sandra filed for a divorce. The funny thing is, before all this controversy emerged, Sandra had been in the process of adopting a son with Jesse. Even though she was single now, she still saw the process through to the end. Sandra has always done well to remove herself from toxic situations, as this Jesse James saga demonstrates. However, she hasn't always been successful at this, and one of the extreme examples of that is one she had with her fans. Most celebrities have stalkers, but Sandra Bullock has had some of the worst. One of them was a man named Thomas James Weldon, who she had to take 2 restraining orders to get away from. Thousands of miles of distance and a stint in a mental institution could not keep Weldon away from Bullock. Unfortunately, though, he's just the tip of the iceberg. When Sandra was married to Jesse James, a woman named Marcia Diana Valentine was found lying outside her house. Jesse came out to confront her, but then she quickly ran into her nearby car. She then tried to run him over, but did not succeed. Eventually, the law caught up to her, charging her with aggravated assault and stalking. Another one of Sandra's stalkers was a man known as Joshua James Corbett. His case was a strange one, escalating into a massive tragedy. He actually broke into Sandra's home in 2014, prompting her to lock herself in her room and call the cops. The police apprehended and charged him. A few months later, he missed his court date. This prompted the police to check up on him. When they arrived, he threatened to shoot them. A SWAT team was then deployed, driving Corbett to kill himself. Just as with stalkers, when it comes to romance, Sandra has lots and lots of options. One of them was Captain America himself. Though Chris Evans is 17 years Sandra's junior, that didn't stop the two of them from getting together. According to Chris, Sandra was his crush when he was growing up, and he constantly dreamed of her. As with most of Sandra's relationships, they tried to keep things low-key. But in the end, everyone knows what happened between the two of them. In 2015, Sandra was finally healed from her relationship with Jesse James. So much so that she decided to give long-term commitment yet another chance. This time, her chosen partner was model-turned-photographer Brian Randall. At long last, Sandra had found her perfect match, right? Well, unfortunately for her, fate was about to play a cruel joke on her. In 2020, Brian fell sick with ALS, beginning a long private battle to stay alive. After fighting valiantly for 3 years, Brian passed away. Although he and Sandra never married, this was definitely her most meaningful relationship. Sandra Bullock is an enigma in that despite her extensive dating history, she still remains somewhat prudish about sex. Think about it. For all the rom-coms Sandra has made in her career, how many of them involve sensual and intimate sex scenes? According to her, she doesn't think she'll look good during sex and has no desire to see herself that way. As such, anytime she has a sex scene in a movie, she always tries to make it funny. During the height of her controversy with Jesse James, Sandra came out to fervently deny that the two of them had a sex tape. Even as hundreds of other allegations were swimming about, this was the one thing she cared enough to deny. If anything, this makes her sex life that much more confounding. In any case, it's a valid choice. If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.